What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. Go over some of the data points, what's driving it higher, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is up 3.2%, 203 the low, 212 the high. So right now is getting above some pretty key resistance levels. I'll go over what's driving it and everything else, but no official news from Lucid itself today, no SEC filings. So it is just rather reacting to the broader market. And the market right now is kind of adjusting to a couple of things. So potentially peace in Ukraine. So I know over the last week, it's gone back and forth like 5 times, but as of right now, it seems as though peace might be coming by this weekend. Secondly, you do have the shutdown, a lot of optimism that there's going to be a deal concluded. So deadline for that is midnight tonight. And then aside from that, I think honestly, the market is somewhat optimistic about the fact that we have not heard any tariff talk at all today. So I think the market is appreciating that. And then the only negative that did come out today was this right here. So the Michigan consumer sentiment came in lower than anticipated. This is the 3rd consecutive report that came in as such, which caused a little bit of disruption in kind of the momentum initially, but nothing really crazy. The market still is kind of moving higher based on that. But like I said, no official news from Lucid itself. There's a couple of things that did come out that I do want to share with you. One was this right here. So 10,262 shares in Lucid were purchased by Proficio Capital. So pretty good thing as far as that. So new position. Aside from that, you did have this come out. So it looks like Lucid renews its hotel partnership in Switzerland. And I think that's clearly based on some disappointing results coming from that. And I think in general, like Lucid is doing fairly good in Europe, but I think more oriented towards, I've seen some data coming from Norway and Germany, which has been on point. Switzerland, I must have missed on why they're saying a sales disappoint. So maybe I must have missed some Switzerland numbers, but if you're aware of that, let me know in the comments below. The only other thing I wanted to bring up was from Nick. So in case you do not know, he's the head of communications for Lucid, very active on social media and stuff like that, but he just puts it in comparison on how Lucid is improving. So you kind of look at the miles per kilowatt hour, pure 5.51, touring 5.35, grand touring 5.04. So essentially they are moving in the right direction. I know a lot of people have kind of stated that they're not really innovating as much as they once were. This kind of begs to differ. And kind of speaking on this a little bit, I'm going to bring it back a year ago when we did find out that Lucid did land a big military battery contract. So essentially, or sorry, 2 years, but essentially this is where maybe you might see something coming out sooner rather than later associated to this. I know under the current administration, they're not really fans of EVs exactly. You did see some recent pictures with obviously him and Tesla in front of the White House. But at the end of the day, you never know. If this deal was already rubber stamped and it just is waiting on, let's say, Lucid's standpoint just to kind of provide the product, or there might be a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, just they're not letting the public know. This could result in some pretty good money, and maybe this is why Lucid has been really trying to push so much towards a lower price and kind of a smaller battery pack, even though it kind of helps towards profitability, as what Peter stated. But I think at the end of the day, maybe there might be some kind of connection to this. When it comes to shorts, they are increasing today, roughly 1.84 million shares. So it doesn't really matter what happened with Lucid. If it's red, green, they seem to be just wanting to double down all the time. 23.31% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 282.2 million shares overall are being shorted. Moving over to options, very low volume, so 216,000 in calls, 128,000 in puts. So people are not really paying attention to Lucid through options, and actually even looking at the common stock, 56.8 million in volume, 94.8 is the average. So today is a relatively quiet day overall, but then again, today is Friday, so that's kind of normal, but we haven't seen this low in volume in a very long time. Actually, this might be the lowest in at least the last 6 months. So definitely something to maybe keep in mind. So big money maybe isn't really buying into all the hype potentially, but of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be above 250/3 for next week. And one big thing that they're going to be participating in is that NVIDIA GTC 2025 conference. So maybe there might be some pretty big things coming down the pipeline for that. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 2. So a little bit more, or actually a lot more upside is anticipated. And as far as with today being Friday, just take note of this. So for whatever reason, if Lucid is able to close above 250, that would be ideal. But it looks as though only 6,000 is going to be considered in the money, and that's at that $2 strike price. So looking forward into next week, that's where the big money potentially could be made. But these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you have 1 sell, 4 buys. So pretty good. But then again, as I already mentioned, volume is relatively low. So you're not really seeing all that much happening with it right now at $2.10 above a key resistance of 206. So just watch for that. That's going to be a strong support. Flip side, 263 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I think Lucid just needs that nice little push, like I mentioned, and hopefully it'll get to higher highs eventually. But no, other than what I brought up, there's no real other new speculative things to really bring up. Aside from all that, though, you see it kind of not much to really talk on, in all honesty, about the technicals. It's still just kind of barely getting above the ALMA today. So that needed to happen to really continue and start building some good momentum to really move higher. But yeah, I think just what has happened over the last 2 weeks has been complete BS with Lucid. It's just very, very unfortunate. And when it comes down to stochastic RSI, because of the recent action, you are seeing it break off of the oversold status. So it is getting somewhat to the neutral category. So again, not really much to bring up in that regard. No new analyst ratings on a side note. So last one that did come out was roughly 7 days ago. Good rating though, $5 benchmark. Mike, who has a 35% success rating. So not all that great. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. I know I went through things relatively fast, but if there's anything that I did miss, let me know in the comments below. I'll bring it up on the weekend video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone has a good day and a good weekend ahead of them. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.